All right, I'm going to go through these 6 liters and show you basically what the procedure is and how we do it for so cheap. Yeah, that's pretty much what it comes down to, eh? Saving a buck. So it's pretty easy just to wait 6 months and shop around online, and you could probably get one of these truck 6 liters from Ford. I think they're about $20,000. I think DFC, there's engine rebuilders that maybe sell long blocks for around 8 to 10, I think. But what we do is we find these bus engines, stuff from trucks, right? Whatever it is, the VT 365. So you can see how this one's, they're coupled to an Allison transmission, Allison automatic. The oil pan's a little bit different. A lot of different stuff on here, different fuel system altogether, power steering system. Really how International designed this engine. And in their applications, it wasn't that bad. They didn't have head gasket problems, mostly because of the detuning, and they didn't have injector problems as bad because of the different fuel system that they have. So we get these things, known good engines. We compression test them. If they make 320 and above, then we tear them down and basically get them down to a long block or a short block. So depending, like you can go either which way, right? Sometimes we'll just take out a bolt, put in a stud. Ideally, the safest way is we get the lifters out. We want to really inspect the camshaft to make sure it's good, make sure there's no surprises and like a cracked piston or a cylinder that's just not firing right. Like we've cleaned these ones up a little bit, but you can really see that flour. Yeah, you can see it much more on this one here, right? And we check for ridges and any scrapes or bumps and everything. We're able to really clean out this high pressure oil system here good. So the best that we can anyways. They're dirty. It's a dirty job. There's not much you can do unless you're hot tanking, right? But we take the block plugs out, flush the coolant system, inspect the bottom end. We wash up all the parts we're going to keep, like the front cover and oil pans, valve covers, intake. Usually we'll recycle EGR delete or whatever the case may be. So once they look good, they come over to the build area here, right? We get it up on a shipping stand like this that works really well. Gives us a lot of good leverage to torque down the head studs and real good view all the way around. It's easy to move. So yeah, we basically set it up like this. We use the radiator from your vehicle. It's just kind of a shop intercooler. It's just nice when we've got it running. We can kind of come around and really check to make sure there's no exhaust leaks or nothing's vibrating funny or whatever, rubbing and all that sort of stuff, right? We'll always put a fuel pressure gauge on it, make sure the fuel pressure is good. It allows us to check everywhere for leaks. That's normally hard to see when it's in the vehicle. We fill it up with water and a little bit of like borax, like a little bit of dish soap, just to clean things out a little bit better there too. And then again, when we're done, we'll just pull the block plugs and then we'll refill it with coolant and everything when it's in the vehicle. But yeah, so we supply fuel. It lets us look at the return here, side too, and we can check for bubbles and stuff like that. This all seems to look pretty good. Right, and then we're able to, since we're just plugging into the into like a pickup truck, right? It's my shop truck, right? So we know the computer and all that sort of stuff's good, and we built a little extension harness there, right? Just there's those 2 plugs that plug in to the body, I guess, and then there's that main one for the computer. So going a little sideways here, but let's see if we can make this thing work. Batteries is always a concern. We really like to see brand new batteries, but it doesn't always work that way, we know. So we make sure that we can run the glow plugs too, which is kind of nice. Right, it just barely kind of fits in there. And we should be able to glow plug it up. So that thing's taking its sweet ass time as usual. There she goes. But yeah, this is yeah, fantastic. Like walking around it when we first fired up this one, you know, we noticed the alternator was sparking. You can see that in the last video that we did. Normally too, sometimes like after we've run it once, we'll hook up a fan. But you know, we can see here, right, that you know, we've got some wires. We're gonna replace the pigtail there, right? It's gonna tell us that it's having a circuit control problem and the fan's not plugged in. So yeah, so this is nice. You know, we're able to watch our injection pressure and, you know, watch our FICM and everything like that. So that's real handy. So I'm just gonna run the glow plug cycle one more time. Give it a fighting chance, right? Make sure we warm up those injectors a little bit. And yeah, I hit this switch there with the skid steer, but so I'm just kind of dummying it here. So I can watch that pressure come up. There's 100. There we go. That's pretty normal to have a long crank. Until we get all the air burped out of it and everything like that. In this case here too, we're using like kind of a shitty idler instead of an AC pump, right? So the belt's not running very good, but it's enough to move the water and, you know, get a bit of a reading out of the alternator. Like you can see, at least this one's not shooting sparks out of it. You can watch our fuel pressure, which is really high because it's a new blue spring. That usually comes down pretty fast after a few drives to around 70. And you know, we like to leave this on, right, just to see if it is pressuring up. Like obviously this has new head gasket and studs, so it's not something that we see it very often. I don't know if it's got enough voltage, but we're just gonna. We like to run the power balance just to see if our injectors are all firing. Now, being that this thing is fresh and it's hooked up kind of goofy, we will see a little bit, you know, but for the most part that's pretty damn good, right? For maybe having, what, I don't know, 10 minutes of runtime on an engine, right? So but yeah, you know, like we're happy with that. You know, that's it runs smooth, it runs nice. We used injectors that we got out of one of the engines. Oh, no, we don't want injector buzz. We want to do glow plug. So we can run our glow plug test before it goes in, because they're a real pain in the ass to get out on these trucks. See, it's kind of wants to drag it down a bit, so it'll probably squeak because of that funny belt. But see, I can just use the pedal, right? Yeah, so we got a successful test on that. Didn't call any bad glow plugs. No engine light. All right, so that's good. but yeah, it runs real smooth, right? You know, we're able to really look in hard for leaks when it's running. That's why we gotta like to leave the fan off. We can get in there and really see if we've got any, you know, any issues or problems. Like I was saying, it's real nice to, you know, come along and, you know, really kind of get your hand in there, and you can even spray a little bit of soap and water maybe if you wanted to see if you've got any Y pipe leaks. And then too, we can get it nice and warm and we'll give them a good snugging, right? And make sure everything on the exhaust side is good, right? We'll wrap up that IPR valve, because we did have to change that. One that we used, it was kind of giving it an erratic idle. So that's working real good. Now we did notice too that this turbo was spitting just a little bit. We can see that. Right, so there might be a problem with this turbo. It did fail pretty badly, had a lot of metal in it, but we cleaned it out the best we can. You know, we're not seeing any blow by or crankcase pressure right off the start, so that's very good. So now we can, being that we have the cab up, right, we can attach the transmission. We did rebuild this transmission. This is a ZF6. That was interesting. That's the first one we've done, but everything seemed to go really good. Everything fit. Everything was just back how it was. It feels good. So we're considering even maybe putting it on the back and trying it, but I'm pretty confident it'll be okay. You see, I've got a little bit of a leak there. Right, that when I pressurized it, I seen it, so I'll have to put a hose clamp on that. But yeah, this is definitely the way to go, I think, as far as testing these engines go before we put them in. And it, you know, gives us a good opportunity to show the customer that, you know, like everything looks good. If you do have problems and you're on the road or something like that, you know, we can kind of knock a few things off the list anyways. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with this one. You know, this is what we like to see, and that's basically the procedure. It works really good. You know, we're having quite a bit of good luck with these things lately. Yeah, so we want that nice return. Alright, then we'll usually just try and kick it one more time now that it's had a good run. Like I said, you know, it takes a lot of driving to get the air out of the system. There we go. We want to see that nice rum, you know, right off the hop, that smooth crank. So I'm going to say that this engine is ready to install. With peace in mind that it's just going to fire right up.